Hiram rules. Riverdale. Free Archie. Run, Archie, run.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to Recap Rewind Roundtable. I'm JLAG.
And I'm NB.
And we are recapping, reviewing Season 3, Episode 10 of Riverdale, and it's titled Chapter 45, The Stranger.
And don't forget, guys, to stick around for the end because we are going to go through our recap roundups, and make sure you guys have yours ready to talk about it too. If you're joining us on the live stream, comment below because we're going to be checking out the chats throughout the episode.
And if you're joining us for the first time ever, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And for our returning listeners, thanks for coming through. Let's get into it though. So this is the agenda for tonight. We're going to do some introductions, pre-cap of overall thoughts, and then key points of the episode. Then we'll do our recap roundups and some announcements. So that's pretty exciting.
Cool.
And so just for intros, as you guys know, I'm JLAG and I've got my girl NBEA on the line. But tonight's guest is a fellow YouTuber who does a bunch of fantastic reaction videos also. So please join me in welcoming Farewell. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me, guys. It's always fun to join.
Welcome.
I know. I love when you're on. So are you ready to get into this episode, guys?
Oh, we
Yeah,
got a
let's
lot
do
to talk about. Let's go.
Like too many things. Like too many things.
Yeah.
All right. So overall thoughts of the episode. What did you think?
I watched it 2 times over and I did like it. Like it. There was a couple of holes I feel like throughout the episode, but they did go back to the high school drama, which you guys know is my favorite. So
yeah,
I did appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure. How about you, Farewell?
Yeah, I this was a mixed bag of an episode for me, but I think it's because they just kept throwing so many twists and turns, and I felt this episode was like a pivot almost in the narrative for me, and I think I liked it.
Yeah.
I think I liked it.
Yeah,
You
there were
just
definitely some
watched it,
things.
so I feel like it has to sink in still.
Yeah, as we talk about it more, I'm gonna develop more of my thoughts, but I think I did like it actually.
All right, cool.
What about you, JLAG?
I liked it too. I really enjoyed it. I think like I think everybody's saying right now, like there's so much that happened this episode. Like almost, I want to say it's always on the cusp of like too much things happening at one time. So this episode's like a perfect example of that. There's just so many things that happen. We have Dat Foxy that said they kind of like that episode, this episode too. So it seems like a bit of a mixed bag, like either like loved it, hated it, but I think it's just like kind of straight down the middle, enjoyable episode. It's Riverdale. What you gonna do? Like some crazy shit happens and you just gotta roll with it. So
Exactly.
I think it's just it is what it is. So let's just do this.
Let's do it.
So we're going to do the key points of the episode. The first one that I wanted to talk about is the fact that Archie ain't dead, y'all. Like he's
good.
Die.
The boy who lives.
The boy lives.
So I don't understand though. Like, why did anyone like? What did he say to his dad when he got back? He was like, "Dad, I was dead, so now I'm back."
Like that's
what
the
happened?
thing. It was so I don't know how you guys felt about this, but I was really annoyed by it just because of the fact that like it's not explained. Like in the I guess intro with Jughead, he's like at 7:45 in the morning, Archie Andrews died, and you're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, he's like walking out and like he's totally fine. I'm like, okay, so we're just gonna pretend that he didn't just almost die. Like, okay, cool.
I don't know. And it was such an epic ending last week where you're like, wait, is he legit dead?
Yeah.
And kind of like what happened to Jughead last season when he like kind of died. At least he was like still in the hospital when we saw him.
Right.
This one was just like, no, he's like Mans is back up and running. Like he's good.
He's fully like functional.
Like, I didn't understand. Like it was too fast.
Way too fast. What did you think, Farewell?
Yeah, I felt similar about it. I'm like, it started off, Archie died. I'm like, oh wow, they really followed through with this, because by the end of the last episode, I was in the group where I'm like, wow, maybe they're actually gonna really switch things up, and maybe Archie's just gonna be dead or in the hospital for a while. And of course, they did it more of like a metaphor, like his old self is dead and he's a changed man. I think the way that they handled it was a little cheeky. But I like the idea that he's going to be trying to be different now. But
Yeah, I
Definitely not
think
handled best.
the one thing that I didn't like about it is I think it's just like an editor's and maybe like a director's thing. They
Mhm.
really push, and I don't know if anybody who's online and fail will if you are, but like a Game of Thrones fan, it was very much like we didn't talk about it last podcast, but that last shot is very like Jon Snow. Spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't caught up yet, but
Yeah,
like
you know what?
it was very Jon Snow, like eyes open, like just
Like
staring, aerial
space.
shot. And I was like, okay, but they literally spent at least a full episode and a half trying to bring fucking Jon Snow back to life. This guy literally had like, there was no red woman who like brought him to life. There was nothing. It was just like walking out like it was totally normal. So I was kind of cheesed. And like, I know that NB mentioned it too, like last podcast, you don't just like go into a coma while your eyes are open. Like he didn't even blink. So like, what was his situation?
And like even beyond that, I think what it's gonna do for us as the audience is like it kind of takes away the drama from those moments. Like moving forward, we're gonna be like, oh, like no, he's fine, like he's not dead,
right?
Because
Exactly.
this moment, like it could have been a really like intense, like emotional moment, you know. And it was like, okay, I guess he's fine now. Cool, okay.
Yeah, we just had to roll with it. I guess they didn't want to spend too much time on his recovery, but I felt like it was a little too fast for me.
Yeah,
Someone in the chat is saying I feel like Riverdale now is not following through with so many of their endings to the episode, which I totally agree. Like one episode, like there was such a big thing that happened, not even just last episode, but the mid-season finale of everybody being quarantined. Next thing you know, like Jughead's literally sleeping in Betty's room, like he's fine, like everybody just got in totally normal. So I was like, okay, they're really not following through with these like big jumpy endings. So I don't know how I feel about it. I'm a little disappointed in the writing and like the way that they're directing it, because I feel like it's all like clickbaity and it's like it's very like drama filled for no reason.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. The clickbait's a really good way to put it.
Yeah,
like you said, they're not going to follow through. So as an audience member, when they try and do more, shocking moments, I can't really put too much investment into it, or the believability isn't there.
Exactly. And I guess we should have learned our lesson with the whole Jughead scare last season, but really like with Archie, they really pushed the fact that he was like donezo. So for him to just roll in the first 2 minutes of the episode, I was like, all right, okay, I guess I'm just gonna run with it.
Yeah, at least they committed to the scar on his chest now, right? Versus his stab wound.
This badass scar, yeah, that's fair. So he gets back. So he's so Archie gets home and he visits his dad. And I just really wanted to take this moment to talk about Fred and Archie on a general, just because this episode, in my opinion, was once again a really amazing moment for both of the characters, and I think the actors did a really great job like showing that son-father relationship. What did you guys think?
Yeah, no, I'm loving these like Fred and Archie conversations, and especially the one that happens like at the end. It's really powerful, and it makes me like Archie more.
Yeah, absolutely. What about you, Farewell?
Yeah, I agree with you there. Fred, for me, season 1 Fred is like one of my favorite characters in the show because of that dynamic they have with one another, and to see them, bring that back to some capacity was great. And I also liked how Fred knows there's something going on and he's trying to help him, and by the end of it I felt like that came across pretty well. So yeah, fan of that.
100%. And they had a really powerful moment at the end of the episode too, where he's really struggling to settle back in, and I'm really glad that they did that. They, like, even though he literally just came back from the dead and he had like a bear who attacked him, they did kind of, this episode for Archie, it was a huge journey into settling back into his normal life and his struggle with that. So I really like the fact that they focused on that, because I was worried that they were gonna be like, all right, you're just gonna have your SATs and you're fine. But he was still traumatized. He was still experiencing a lot of the things that he had just gone through. So I really like that they kept pulling that back in, which was, I think, really important to keep it believable as a comic book show could be, I guess.
For sure.
So after he visits his dad, he visits his girl, or his ex-girl.
Where, like, what's the definition there? Like, I don't even know at this point.
I don't even know. That's a good question.
So they broke up. Let's just be real right now. Like, they did break up. There was an official phone call. He said, we're done.
Yeah.
But then he comes back and then he tells Fred, we just broke up. So was that him telling his dad, like catching him up, or when he came back, did he think that they were together and it was like an off-camera thing?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that like he officially breaks up with her at the end of the episode, right? But I think in the beginning he's just like, "Oh, true. I guess I gotta go see my girlfriend."
Yeah, like
And I think he comes back to town, assuming that they're back together, or like that he's gonna get in. That's for sure what he assumes.
100%. And they don't waste any time. Like they literally like she comments on his hair. She's like, "What the hell happened to your hair?" And then she's like, "I'm glad you're here." And then he's like, "Let's make out and have sex." So,
Basically. And she's like, okay.
Some things will never die, I guess, Riverdale.
Yeah, especially with VARCHIE, and I'm sure the VARCHIE shippers. Like, I want to know someone who's like a diehard VARCHIE shipper, because this episode might have like given them a heart attack. Like,
oh yeah, they're probably still like in bed, like crying right now.
Because in the beginning, you really think so. I was gonna ask you. Because I guess like what they're trying to push is the fact that like he's kind of too far gone by this point in time. Like he's changed, a changed man, and he's like a different person. Did you feel like that was the situation, especially in this first
50,000, 8 million%? Yes.
Yeah.
He's totally different.
Yeah, for sure. And like she was very standoffish. She wasn't really sure what was going on.
Which is totally understandable too. Like I get it from her perspective and I get it from his perspective too. It's just like life happens in between, you know, and
life doesn't stop.
Be like #Varchie. It's gonna have to be #Varchie sometimes, you know.
What did you think, Bill?
Yeah, I definitely was initially, as I started the episode off, I was like, damn, I felt so bad for Reggie in that situation.
Yeah.
But then I also was like, as the episode was going on, like I was trying to understand, you know, Veronica's perspective, and like she's going through a lot, and let's say Reggie was, you know, a good friend, always there. So I guess, you know, it makes sense. But yeah, I think she actually did a good performance this episode, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I think she did whatever she could do in this particular episode.
Let's talk about them later on when they actually have like that moment together.
Right.
Sure.
So let's talk about the SATs, because they decided to throw that shit into this episode.
I love everything leading up to this moment. Everyone was like, all the writers were like, the SATs are coming up. The SATs are coming up. I'm like, okay, but like, why is all this other shit happening? Like, let's get back to high school. Come on.
Yeah.
So we got to see that this week.
Yeah. What did you think of them throwing it into this episode, like randomly?
I was like, what are you doing, guys?
Yeah, it felt very forced. Like, they were definitely leading up to it. We knew it was going to happen because they kept saying it, but I just felt like it was forced into this episode.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Like, even Archie was like, "Oh shit!" He's like, "I forgot."
Yeah, it's like when the principal tells him, like, you know, you might have to take your year back again. He's like almost like upset about it. Like, dude, what have you been doing all year? Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Like, why was he so shook?
Why was he so shocked? Like he was gonna have to repeat it. I was like, you literally you've been in jail before you ran away. So I don't know how you thought that you could do anything outside of that.
Like, has he stepped into academic advising? Does he know when you miss a certain amount of weeks?
Exactly.
He clearly hasn't talked to anybody in his school.
Yeah.
Really. He literally thought that he could just roll right in and be like, cool, like I'm just gonna pass my class. And he's like, I'm not gonna graduate with my friends. I'm like, you went to jail. Like, that would have been your first indicator.
Seriously.
Like, come on.
Yeah. So the SATs are on the Saturday coming up. So he literally has like 2 days to study, right?
Like, not even, probably. He's probably there. He was probably there on the Friday. Like, he probably just rolled up like that day. I was like, this is not a good time for you to show up finally. Yeah. Like, you should have just at least missed the SATs. I'm like, don't even try. Like, and that's the thing. Like, if it was literally anybody else, like if it was like freaking of all people, like even Jughead would have like crammed and tried to get through this like SAT prep. But like for him to be the one to miss it and be like, okay, I guess I'm gonna have to do SATs. I'm like, you have zero chance getting through anything. Like,
high key, like I really want to do the SATs. Because like,
no, you don't.
We don't ever do them, and I'm like, I want to really like do it and see what I
guess for. I guess Canada has like a different version. It's like the math separately and then like the English separately.
Yeah,
but SATs
insane as theirs apparently. Who knows?
No, definitely
I believe in you, MB.
So yeah, so before we keep going, another thing that happens at the diner is Betty's debit card gets declined. So
like, wait, since when do they pay for their milkshakes?
Yeah.
And why didn't Veronica just pay for it? She owned the freaking place.
Yeah.
Forget you have to pay for the milkshake. It was so random.
And I also just love that that was like Pop's only line the entire episode is like, here you go. You cannot do this. I'm like, wow, you guys really are working his acting abilities right now, just coming in for one line.
So funny. As soon as she handed over the card, I was like, okay, it's getting declined. They've never shown that. They've never shown anyone actually pay for like
anything. Yeah. It's like plot point.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. I was just like, okay, like, you're gonna get your card declined. I felt bad for her. Like, ooh, like I felt like I was, like when that happens in real life, like, ooh, oopsies.
Oh hell yeah, that's an awkward situation, 100%.
So there's like two guys sitting there, like neither one of them like picked up the tab. Like they waited for like, reach over and hand their debit card to Pop. Anyways.
Yeah. So then it cuts to Betty talking to her mom, being like, "Yo, where's all my money?" But she's like gone insane. Like, unfortunately, Alice is like on the deep, like she's like off the deep end. I don't know what the F happened to her.
I don't know. I'm secretly hoping that like she somehow is planning something, because at this point she's legit crazy.
And I know, Fail, even you talked about this during the mid-season. Like, what are you thinking of this like constant decline of this character?
Yeah, man, Alice is just degrading as a character, and I can see them potentially trying to do like a long game where it's like we're at the end of the season, they're starting to progress that narrative more, and you figure out like what Alice is doing, why and stuff. But like, if you're gonna do that, give us little nuggets here and there that show she's just not completely off the shits,
Yeah. Like the one thing that she does is like get ready for an interview so she can be a broadcast reporter. I was like, what the fuck is this storyline?
Yeah, like I get you're a journalist and all, but like, and like what's going on with the milk? Like I'm thinking they're gonna do like a brainwashing arc where she's gonna manipulate the people on broadcasting now, because like I really don't know what's going on anymore.
Yeah,
especially with Alice. So
I'm not sure what,
honey.
I don't know what they're doing with their character. It's really unfortunate seeing some of these characters who are just basically just great actors on a general level, just not being utilized in the best of their abilities, in my opinion. But yeah, she's on this crystal tip now, which is kind of crazy. She's like, I gave all your money away to the farm. So now Betty has to do
her entire college fund, by the way.
Everything, literally everything. She was just like so extra. And so now she talked to Sierra, and Sierra was like, yo, you got to talk to your dad now because she forged her signature, and like if he signs his affidavit, then he'll get your money back or some shit like that. I don't know. But by the end of the episode, which I just wanted to talk about really quickly because I didn't know anywhere else to put it, she ends up like not getting her money back, and the farm ends up using the money to buy the Sisters of Quiet Mercy, which I was like, but what? So I guess the one thing that I wanted to ask was like, I guess this means that the farm is now coming to Riverdale. I think that's the big plot point, right?
Yeah, for sure. They definitely have a hand in something.
What did you think about this like driven point, and what do you guys think online? Like, what are you excited to find out about?
I'm just excited to see this guy. Like,
Edgar Evaneva.
Like, I'm excited just to see him because like we've been talking about him from like the beginning of the season and even before that. So it's just like, let me see who this guy is.
Yeah. I agree as well. And I like, we were talking offline about it, and we've never really talked specifically about him being involved with the Gargoyle King, but like I really was wondering if he was going to be involved at all. But I don't know if they're like separate storylines, like how they're going to connect them, if they're like rivals in some regard. Like I don't really know. But anyway, moving on to the next moment. Veggie is on hold because Archie back in the game.
Let me just talk about that moment in the hallway.
Yeah.
That was really like when she turned him down, right? Like when Reggie comes up to her and he's like, hey, babe. And she's like, hell no.
Yeah. She's like, don't touch me.
She's like, Archie's back. He's like, what? It was really sad.
Yeah, I agree. What did you think about it?
Yeah, she gave him the biggest like whose man's is this sort of look.
Yeah.
It was just so unfortunate, man. Like it really made you feel bad for the guy, but I thought he handled it decently well though.
He did.
Yeah.
He tried to recover quickly.
He definitely was like, got it, fam. Like, I'm gonna like we'll deal with this. Like, he's in the picture again. Like, I'll manage myself.
And yeah.
But he just wants to have sex all the time. And I guess
I think he legit likes her though.
No, I think he does like her. Yeah.
I think he legit likes her.
Yes. You know what's really interesting? We can talk about no, we can't talk about them now like about this particular episode because I really feel like there's a stark contrast between Veggie and Varchie, and it was very apparent this episode. Like literally as soon as Archie sees Veronica, he's like, yes, I'm gonna have sex with you and like whatever. It's like all about the love and the passion. Whereas like Reggie's been her like freaking like rock this whole time. And he continued to like pull through this episode. And I was really impressed because even when they had like the welcome party, he like came to her and he was like, it wasn't a selfish thing to say like, yo, your man is crazy. But like obviously that helps his case because he's like just come back to me, right?
But I think you're right. I think like, you know, we've seen Veronica really have to pick up Archie's shit since the beginning, really.
Yeah.
And to see Reggie sort of taking care of her and protecting her, like it just shifts like the dynamic. And I'm like, holy crap! Like, first of all, I already loved Reggie, number one.
Yeah.
And number two, he just seems sexier. He seems like he can actually protect her. Whereas Archie's just like, I'm all over the place, you know? So I think
he's just like
Reggie deserves her.
Yeah, I agree. What did you think, Fail, about this episode for Veggie?
Yeah, I think it was a real turning point, especially for Reggie. And I part of me wanted to like what you guys are saying, I agreed with all of that. And I wanted to see like almost Veronica just maybe cut Archie off earlier and be like, you know what, Reggie, like let's maybe work this out and try and do it. And also I was hoping for, and then it really took her dad dying and her thinking that, you know, Archie did it for her to be like, okay, I'm done with this guy. We don't know what's happening with her and Reggie now. Yeah. But I almost wanted her to just kind of like him for him and not any of these other circumstances and realize that. But
that's totally fair. I think just based on the way that it was written, it made a lot more sense just because it kind of accelerated the timeline a little bit. Because like, yeah, the courting situation is always nice, but I think just the whole incident with Hiram happening really just forced them even closer together. So speaking of Hiram, let's talk about him and his like tiny little mini crew of evil people. Like, as we remember the end of season 2, there was like 7 people, and now there's literally 2 people. It's Penelope and Claudius. And so he calls them in to talk about 2 things. Well, one thing Penelope talks about, she's like, yo, the Sisters of Quiet Mercy's up for auction. Like, are you going to buy it? And he was like, yeah, I think I'm going to buy it. And then she's like, my brothel? Am I going to get it from my brothel? I'm like, I'm literally so done with this fucking brothel storyline because it is going.
She have a brothel.
No, I guess not. She like doesn't have one yet. She's just like making house calls.
You know, I rate her. She's an entrepreneur. She's just trying to get her money,
which I totally understand. I get it, but like Hiram isn't coming through for her at all. Every single time she brings it up, he's like later. Like. So I don't know what the hell was going on with that situation. I didn't understand like why she still has a storyline at all. Someone in the comments is saying Mrs. Blossom just needs to stick to banging Hal in prison, which don't worry, she is. Which is hilarious. So another thing that happens is during this particular thing is Claudius is now appointed to be the new sheriff. Hiram is like, you're gonna be the new sheriff. Like, are you good with that? So what did you guys think about this random situation?
Confused. I was as confused as Claudius. He was like, wait, what? He was like in the middle of a drink. He's like, huh? He's like, me?
Yeah, he's like chilling with like a whiskey and he's got like a cigar in his hand. He's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like,
I don't work. What are you talking about?
Yeah, he was just as confused as the rest of the audience because I really didn't know that Claudius was even relevant until like this episode.
Yeah,
definitely. I feel like this episode, like they were sitting in the writers' room after maybe like the mid-season finale or something, and they're like, okay, how about episode 10? We just bring a bunch of people back,
Yeah.
and really just mix and mash things and go
Yeah.
from there.
Yeah.
And
then
this
just
like sorry,
kill everybody off. Like,
yeah, like, and that's how I felt with Claudius.
yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't understand like why. I mean, I guess the reasoning is like for just to get rid of him as a character, which is such a waste. Like I said, like these are paid actors. Like, what is your storyline that you just come back for one episode to die later on?
It makes no sense.
I don't get it. I don't get it at all. So I was like a bit of a miss on my side of things in terms of like how they're treating these characters. But yeah, later on he dies. We'll talk about that in a bit. So then we can talk about Archie trying to study for the SATs really quickly. He was killing me in this moment. For one, I didn't know that word either. Like, I didn't know what the fuck that word was.
Iconoclast?
Yeah. I was like, I don't know what the iconoclast is. So it was just really funny to like see him kind of like be just as dumb as he normally is, just like extra because of the SAT studying. But yeah, I was like, that's the thing. Like, of all people, Archie's not going to pass the SATs. Like, there's no point. Like, don't bother. Don't bother.
I mean, it was a to see him and his friends helping him, and I miss that. Like, once again, it just shows like the regular day-to-day teenage things. I miss seeing those things, like seeing Betty and Jug in his room, like helping him out. Like, you know, it just felt so normal, and it felt funny, and it was cute.
Yeah, I agree. So another thing that happens in this moment, we have a really cute like moment between Betty and Archie after Jughead leaves. And I was like, okay, she's just gonna dye his hair back to red, so he's like normal again, which was cool, fine. But what did you guys think about this part of the episode?
I loved it, and I know I'm gonna get hate for this, but like I'm a huge BARCHIE fan. But I also think, having said that on the side, I think like she's like his, you know, beacon in the night. I think like she's gonna bring him back to the Archie he was, and only she can do it. I feel like, because she knows who he is at his core.
Yeah,
you know? And she knows all these things about him since they were like in grade 1 together. Like, she's that person for him. So I think at this point, him leaving Veronica, like I feel like she's like the next thing that's gonna bring him back.
You just want BARCHIE to happen so badly.
I feel like it does make sense though. Like, it makes sense. He's losing himself, and she's the only one that really knows who he really is, kind of, you know?
That's fair. What did you think about this, Farewell?
Yeah, I thought it was a nice, sweet moment between them, because we haven't seen many moments between them recently, right? Just like them being high school kids, and I liked all those moments, just like you said, MB. But when you contrast it with all the, you know, gang activities, the death and stuff, it just feels misplaced, sort of. And a part of me is like, oh damn, they're really gonna go back to the smaller scale, focus on the high school drama stuff with the SATs. That's what I thought they were gonna do. But then they quickly go back into the regular lifestyle, which kind of, I mean, you have to at this point. You've already tripled down, right?
Yeah, triple down. So true. Someone in the comments says, over Jughead's dead body, NB, because like there's no way that BARCHIE's gonna happen if Bughead's still a thing, right?
Okay, guys, whatever.
Well, who knows, because Jughead is going through the shits right now. There's bodies. He seems to be, you know, panicking a little bit.
That's fair.
Who knows what's gonna happen?
That's a good point. So moving on to Jughead, he meets up with Fangs and talks about the fact. So Fangs is like being like a double agent or whatever, and he is like, "Oh, there's going to be a ceremony tonight." And then so the ceremony happens. So I'm just kind of power through that part of it. So he's like, okay, he's gonna initiate me. I'm gonna meet the Gargoyle King, and Jughead decides to make this plan where they're going to ambush everybody. So then it turns out that the Gargoyle King's there. He kneels down and he's ready to get branded. And then it's freaking Tallboy, which is
like, what the F?
Actually insane. What did you guys think of this ridiculous moment?
No, I was like, what? Are you kidding me?
I was like, is that
about Tallboy? Like, who cares? Who is he?
Yeah, it's so true.
It was so weak, man. It was so weak.
I agree.
Like I said, they just put a bunch of things in a hat and they said, all right, what are we gonna do this episode, y'all?
Yeah.
Tall boy.
Yeah.
Very
first of
weird.
all, I thought Tallboy was literally dead. Like I thought FP killed him, but he didn't.
He was dead as disco. Like I could have sworn.
Yeah, but he didn't die clearly. But it was I just thought it was stupid. We thought that Tallboy was the Black Hood, and now he's the Gargoyle King. I was just like, all right, fine, whatever. It was stupid because it was so unbelievable that I didn't believe that it was real. I was like, this must be like a fake character. Like he must be pretending to be the Gargoyle King.
It was Tallboy's twin that we didn't know about.
Christ. Oh no way, they can't do that. No.
Yeah.
So they capture Tallboy, and then he says, well, like I'm gonna set up this next level meeting, but you have to give Hiram something in order for him to like come through. Yeah. So they pretend with Hiram that they have Archie, and so he's gonna they're gonna ambush him as well. So they have this meeting with Hiram, except it's not Hiram, and instead it's Claudius, right. Who shows up, and then they're like, "What the hell are you doing here?" And he's like, "I don't know why I'm here either. Like, I'm very confused." I
had an episode left in my contract.
Yeah, like I need 10 more minutes of screen time. All right, cool. So he shows up, and then later on in the episode he goes to jail, and fast forward to the fact that Claudius freaking dies in jail.
Like
can you explain to me why they gave a fake twin storyline only to kill off the character in like the weirdest way possible? Because like what shit jail is this that they like allow people to just drop dead? Like I don't
care about these characters. Like that's the thing. Like I don't know what the writers are thinking. Honestly, I don't know.
Yeah, someone in the comments is saying like even Tallboy being the Gargoyle King is such a shitty choice by the writers.
Of course, it doesn't make any sense. Like he was a part of last season's storyline, if that.
Yeah.
Why would you bring him back for this one? It feels so cheap. It's just I don't know.
And like I know that last season, like the whole Black Hood storyline was like they thought they caught the Black Hood, and then it wasn't the real Black Hood. It ended up being Hal. I don't want that happening this season again. Like I want the Gargoyle King to be like gone forever. But also it just doesn't make any sense. Like literally Hiram was cheersing Tallboy. Like, are you telling me that Tallboy was the one that was sitting in his like lounge at the end of the mid-season finale? Like it just doesn't, like what does Tallboy have over everybody else that he's like controlling the whole situation? It just doesn't make any sense.
I know.
I guess we're just assuming at this point, and correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, guys, and you guys too, but like are we just assuming safely that Hiram is the orchestrator of all things gargoyle? Is that correct?
What's everyone saying?
I think that everybody's saying, like it came out of nowhere. Everybody was really confused by it. What did you think, Failwell, about the fact that like he just kind of came out of nowhere? And do you think that Hiram is the real kingpin in all of this?
I don't know. When I watched the episode, I started to get the idea that Hiram's, I think a little too deep into the game and is starting to lose a grip on everything. And even the sort of comment later on in the episode, right before that incident happens, it made me think that even more. I think they're gonna end up doing that. The farm leader is probably the one who's been orchestrating all of this, and Hiram's in cahoots with him.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, it would make the connection between them, so I'm down for that kind of. But also, like, it's a better reach than like Tallboy of all people, like such a random character. I'd rather see someone we've never seen before, like Edgar Evernever, than like Tallboy come back and be like, "I'm the Gargoyle King." Like, what?
Yeah, and he came back like with like a new voice and everything.
Yeah, he was like, "Hey guys, I'm the Gargoyle King now." I was like, this is so extra. Okay, so let's jump back a little bit in the episode and talk about this welcome home party. Let's just take a moment to laugh about this before I kill myself. Because Veronica gets an opportunity to sing in Espanol, y'all. She
kicked out Josie. She fired Josie. Josie was gone forever.
Yeah, fully like Josie was lit for like 2 episodes, and then she literally got kicked off the pay bill again. Like they're doing these secondary characters so dirty. Like someone mentioned in the comments too, like Kevin doesn't even exist in the storyline. Like
It's horrible this season.
Like he didn't even do the SATs. Like Cheryl didn't even go to school.
Yeah, where Cheryl just said, "Nah, I'm good."
Yeah, she's like, I'm rich. I don't give a shit about school. Like, I just don't get it. Anyway,
So JLAG, did you like her singing?
nope.
Nope.
I can safely say that was probably more embarrassing for me than it was for her to watch.
You know what? It just felt so extra. She was like, "Hey, we're having a study party, but it's also your surprise party, so I'm gonna sing in Spanish." I just didn't get the connection. Like
is this?
It's not like he escaped to Mexico and like came back to Mexico to learn Spanish. Like,
like I didn't get it. I'm like, the SATs are not in Spanish. Like, you don't need to do this right now. And so like he starts freaking out and he starts to spiral and he starts having all these like flashes of Hiram as she's singing in Spanish. And I'm like, maybe she could.
She's saying like, "Mija, café con leche."
Yeah, you were tricking her, man. Like, what's going on?
That's what I was saying. I was like, maybe you shouldn't have sung it in Spanish because like your boy is like losing his mind right now.
Yeah.
So he spirals and he runs away, and then later on Reggie talks to him later, but I just wanted to fast forward to this moment where Reggie talks to Archie and he's like, I just need to talk to you about like cheating. And then
Archie comes up to Reggie and he's like, "Yo, cheating, bro." And then Reggie's like, "Oh my god, she told you?"
Wait a minute. Did you just take the fact that Archie was actually dead ass considering to cheat?
Yeah,
I mean,
I just took that in. Like, really?
Sort of.
If you're asking to cheat on your SATs, then you definitely should retake your junior year, buddy.
That's true. I agree.
That's it.
I just thought, like, what did you guys think of how this all played out? Because like it was like, oh, I'm thinking about cheating, and then he's like, oh yeah, I cheated on you. Like it was very much like a setup, like
Totally
writing wise. So I was like, all right, you guys are really just gonna do this. Okay, cool.
And like I watched it back over again, and like I heard what Archie said, and he's just like, "Hey, I want to talk about like cheating." Like, who says that? Like, you would like, cheat on the test. Like, are you gonna cheat on the test? Like, you would never ask it. Like, hey,
thoughts on cheating in general? Like, what?
What is your philosophy on cheating? Like, what the fuck? And so this part of the episode as well was hashtag spawned by Bumble. I wanted to just mention that because NB mentioned it. I didn't even know because I've never used Bumble before, but it's literally the app.
They definitely got sponsored for that. I was like, nice product placement, guys.
I know. I was like, this is not the time, guys. This is not the time for product placement.
Yeah, and like 10 seconds later, it like came up on like the lower thirds. It was like Bumble. I was like, oh my god.
Wow, that's tight. That's tight.
No shame.
So anyway, in this moment, he admits that he was boinking like Veronica. And what did you guys think about this? Like, what are your personal thoughts on?
So do we think that they're boinking, or do we think that they just like made out?
I mean, I guess cheating is cheating. Is cheating. So like, it doesn't really matter.
Because like I feel like if they just made out, it's not that bad. It's just like, okay, you guys like slipped, but like if they actually hooked up, it's like, okay, there's no going back from this.
Well, they developed like a pretty good emotional bond too. I think that's really important too, right?
Yeah, that's true, actually. Yeah,
and like you didn't want to get into that shit for real.
But I was like, wait, I need details.
Yeah. This moment was weird, and I think even the one before that sort of connected to it, where he goes up to him and like, takes off his shirt, and says, "Yo, bro, what's going on, man? Like, why are you being a dick?" And he gets back, and I'm like, "Yo, look at this cool scar I got, bro." He's like, "Oh, fuck, man. Like, I guess you're pretty messed up, eh?" Like the writing was so weird for those moments.
It was a very weird moment where he like literally said, he's like, "Oh wow, that's why you're so fucked up."
Coconut in there that you're like dissing your girl. I was like, okay, like chill. Like, why are you so extra?
Why are you shading him so hard? Yeah, it was weird.
Like, sketching out. What's the big deal? He has PTSD.
PTSD for sure. So I wrote down that it's like a Pearl Harbor moment. Anybody who like gets that reference is like, it's like they're like, we thought you were dead, we thought you were gone forever, so we got together.
Every like army movie ever.
Yeah, every army movie ever for sure.
And technically they were broken up.
That's true.
Exactly.
Yeah. Someone in the comments said low key. Yeah, Nicholas mentioned that low key Veronica is a sex addict. Which is probably true.
To Farewell's point, it's not about the sex. Like I feel like her and Reggie had like an emotional bond too.
That's fair. But let's talk about the next moment because she does have sex a second time this episode. Oh my god.
There can never be enough gang members and fighting and violence to squeeze in some sex moments. Am I right, guys?
100%.
What did you guys feel like? Did you guys feel like they were on the up again? Like Varchie was gonna come out of this like alive, or was this sort of like this shit's never gonna work?
I mean, I think that when I watched it the first time around, I watched it and I was like hopeful because he was like, I don't want to talk about this tonight. Let's just be together tonight. Like it sounded like a song that he was singing. Like it sounded like an Adele song. And I thought it was sweet. I was like, okay, like they're back. They're trying their best to get back to like their version of normal, but like they're ignoring the fact that nothing is the same. So I guess you just kind of have to expect that it's gonna go south. But yeah, it was a good moment, but it was sad, I guess, watching it back later. You're like, oh yeah, true. Like they tried to like make it work, but the best way they could, and they just couldn't make it work. Let's talk about Hal and Betty really quickly.
Yeah.
So what did you think of this whole so the reason why she goes to see him because she wants the affidavit, and he starts to like talk about the fact that he used to be the Gargoyle King and some weird like he was like the OG Gargoyle King, and he was the one that killed Principal Featherhead, and he's the like did you understand or follow along at all? Because I was very confused.
I got it, but I was just like, okay, I guess I'm gonna believe that because I have to.
Right.
So he's the one that killed Featherhead that night?
Yeah.
Okay.
But then it turns out that like he didn't, because he was lying to her this whole time to spend more time with Betty. Is that right?
Oh, so in the end he didn't kill him?
I don't see, that's the thing that I got confused by. I was like, so everything, because she does confront him later after she talks to this crazy beach and says yo, like it's not like everything that I told him is because I was like boinking him on the side too. So
that's the idea that I got, that he just lied just to get close with his daughter, because by the end we can see that he's clearly manipulating her and taking advantage of her, like how vulnerable she is.
Yeah.
So weird.
So yeah, I wanted to just quickly talk about the fact that like Betty confronts Penelope because Penelope's been pretending to be Alice. I don't know why this jail doesn't like check your ID, but like I guess they don't.
Right? So weak.
But she's like, yeah, conjugal visit, so I can like still have sex with him or whatever. And I was like, first I was like, why is she having sex with Hal? Like, is he paying her? And then I remember they had like a romantic storyline last night. Totally forgot. So I was like, good for them, I guess. But at the same time, I was like, what is this garbage ass storyline that Penelope?
Do you guys feel like there's more to that though? That like they could be working together on something?
I hope so, because if not, then like I don't know why I'm watching the show. Like, what is happening
at this point? Riverdale's like is like that Kevin Garnett like meme where it's like anything is possible.
Seriously.
It's so true. So flipping back to Betty and Hal in the final scene, because I just wanted to wrap them all together. So this is after she finds out that her mom like gave away all the money, but she ends up going back to talk to Hal kind of like at her own free will, because the first few times she's like doing it out of like spite, because she's like, just sign this damn paper and get out of my face. But this last time she kind of decides to go see him for the last time. What did you guys think about this?
I don't know. I feel like I'm scared for Betty, because I don't know how far she's gonna go with him, you know?
Yeah, that's fair, and I think that's kind of what you're supposed to feel. Someone said that it was very Silence of the Lambs, which I had mentioned too. Like it's very like Clarice and Hannibal. But I was totally intrigued by the storyline. I was like, this is very interesting in the way they shot it. And she makes a lot of really great points, right? Like she's watching her mom like fall apart left, right, and center. And she's like, she got rid of your education. And like this man who literally was the biggest murderer ever is like giving her the most sound parental advice in this moment.
Here's the thing. When there's 10 million other storylines happening in this episode, this sort of falls to the wayside because I'm like, I don't know which one to invest in more.
Yeah.
And I feel like on its own, it's such a cool storyline. Like it is, like her sitting with him and talking with him, and is he gonna like convert her or whatever? Like, I'm into that. But when there's like other things happening on the side, I'm just like, which one do I have to focus on though?
It's
you know?
true. Yeah. It's true. Someone said, J. Michelle says in the chat, it was heartbreaking that the only normal conversation Betty can have is with her psychopath of a father, which is true. Like she's kind of at a loss. She can't talk to Jughead because he's like off doing God knows what. Her mom's fucking crazy. Like Archie's like can't even help himself. And so like she's literally sitting in a room talking to a serial killer who happens to be her dad, and her dad's like, education's so important, you have to go to school. I was like,
or else you'll end up like me. Like,
I'm like, what is this story? But I am quite intrigued by it, and I'm really interested to see where they go with it.
Yeah, it was interesting to see him back in the fold. I didn't think they would bring him back anytime soon, but it was definitely weird at first. But like you said, the way that they shot it was actually really well done, and invoked a lot of like mystery and like intrigue. Like, why is he here? Like, there's definitely something deeper going on. And like I said, by the end of the episode, at this moment, he sort of reeled her back in and got exactly what he wanted.
Yeah, it's true.
And he kind of looks like Michael Myers too. Is that just me? Like
yes,
the suit?
The suit for sure is totally Michael Myers. Yeah, 100%. So moving back to the SATs, Archie's like totally like lost. I was so excited to watch this part of the scene, and I'm sure NB, you were super excited because I'm like, wow, they're in a classroom, they're doing a test. And then you remember like he's definitely gonna fail. Like, and sure enough, like he can't even get through the first question without being like, I'm leaving. So he like rages and he goes to the bathroom and he punches the mirror and it breaks.
Yeah.
What did you guys
and
think of this like fail moment? Sorry,
like,
what did you say?
Chase him, like Veronica tries to chase him out of the room.
Mm-hmm.
And the teacher's like, if you leave too, like you're gonna get a 0. She's like, oh true, okay. And like shoot, like she didn't leave. So I was like, oh, it's kind of like tight.
But I mean, like then she's like literally giving up her score, so like the stakes were kind of high.
I know, but like I was just like, oh damn, like I don't know.
Yeah. Someone was like, it was math, so I would have probably left too. I'm like, yeah, I definitely like as soon as I saw that algebraic equation, I was like, oh, I see it. Like I see a triangle. I can't do this.
I'm out. Some part of me was really hoping that they're gonna give like a little like insight to how like a lot of students are like me. Well, Archie was gonna go through the quiz and just like circle the side to it and just be like, okay, I don't know this, I don't know this, and then leave. But
like the frustrating thing is like they just kept using Hiram getting into his mind like every moment possible. So like in this moment when he's supposed to be focusing on like the SATs, he's thinking about Hiram. I'm like, can you relax?
Yeah.
It was weird. I thought it was weird. So anyway, he punches the mirror out of a rage and that's it. But the next big moment that happens, so Hiram's just chilling and he's like having his like cafe con leche or whatever, and then he gets shot. Man's gets shot. Major moment, guys. This is huge.
Yeah, it was so quiet and it was so sudden.
Yeah. It was a crazy, like seeing the whole like glass shatter and him just being like, oh crap. It was very well shot.
Do we know where they shot him from? Like from the window?
I'm saying. Where I saw he was looking straight at the door and he got shot from us like right in front of him.
Right. Well, for all
shot or something. Like
I mean, for all we know, he did see the killer, but like now he's in a coma, so like we don't know, like he's not going to be able to say it, right?
Right.
But I feel like, who do you guys think it was? Because do you think it was Archie? Do you think that he had the time to do that shit?
I got a couple theories.
Okay, go for it.
The most like outlandish one is Reggie was so enraged with what happened to losing Veronica to Archie. He stumbles in that he takes it upon himself. We've seen him give Archie a weapon before, right?
True.
Yeah.
Goes and decides, you know what? I'm gonna mess up your dad to make you not like Archie anymore, so I can make my play again. that's like, I don't think that's what they're gonna do, but the thought came to me.
No, I read that somewhere today too, and I was like, damn, I hope that's not true, because then like Reggie's gonna look like an idiot. Like, I hope that's not true.
Yeah.
It's just too intense for Reggie to like be behind, I feel like.
Yeah.
I agree.
I like people are not feeling any types of ways in the chat. They're like, I supposed to care about the fact that he got shot?
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Hermione is somehow behind all of this. And in my opinion is that it has something to do with a mistress or the mistress and Hermione. I think there's something there with Hermione.
I agree. I think the person, the suspect number one on my list is definitely Kelly Ripa, aka K Rips, aka Miss Mulray, who's going to be showing up next episode. And she does like basically have a pistol in every single shot that we've seen her in, so she clearly has a gun on her at all times.
Well,
so
who else had a gun this episode though?
Am I missing somebody?
Fangs,
Oh, Fangs.
and he doesn't know how to shoot it.
Clearly. It's a major fuck up. But like, yeah, I don't know. Like at this point, I guess I'm hoping that they don't drag out like who shot Hiram for too long. But it was a bit of a shocking moment. Someone's saying that it could have been Penny Peabody.
True.
Fred, yes, that's so true, Nunu. I was thinking that it might have been Fred too, just because of the energy he was outputting at the beginning of the episode, right? That was very interesting.
True. Someone saying FP had a gun. So yeah, I mean, I guess there's a few players that could have definitely done it. My thing is like, not that I want him to die at all, but like my concern, yes, it was cinematic, seeing this one shot like slowly open up and he like falls to the floor. But I'm like, bitch, in what world do you shoot somebody once and just run away? Like, shoot somebody once and then get the job done. Like, finish the job.
Yeah. So like, maybe they were meant to just shoot him and not kill him.
That's a pretty mean shot though, like right in the chest.
Yeah, very well placed.
He's wearing like a thing underneath, like a jacket or something. A vest.
Like a bulletproof vest. Well, it definitely wasn't bulletproof, that's for sure. So anyway, let's cut to the next moment. So while this is all happening, probably one of the most random things that happened in this entire episode, outside of Hiram getting shot, is Fangs accidentally killing Tallboy.
Shot. Like what?
Like, and they happen like almost back to back to each other.
A PSA for like gun violence, because I feel like it would be.
Yeah. What did you think about this part, Farewell?
I was like, guys, come on. Are you really telling me that you're in this gang for how many years? You know, you're doing all these, you know, criminal activities, and you have a gun. You're willing to put the dude hostage, but the fact that you might kill him, like you're that shook.
Yeah. And I'm like, they're like, he was trying to run away. I'm like, well, how did he almost run away? Like, I was annoyed that they didn't even show how it all went down. Because it makes me feel that like what Fangs was doing was diabolical, which you know isn't true, because like Fangs isn't that character at all. He's not like someone who has like some set agenda. But like
he does.
I mean,
like, what if there's something shady behind all of this? Because it just felt so stupid.
Yeah, it did feel stupid. But J. Michelle says in the comments that I swear Fangs is like a human version of a puppy, which I kind of agree with, because he's super adorable, pretty cute, and he's just an idiot. Like, he just doesn't know how to use a gun. So after this happens, Jughead's like, what the fuck? And literally it was stupid because it just happened. Like, literally as Jughead is going down the bunker, they're like, oh my god, you just shot him. I was like, wow, what are the odds that you're walking into like the death of Tallboy?
Yeah.
So he's like, okay, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna have a party
Time, yeah.
Distract everybody. Which
my God.
I didn't understand that was his like line of thinking. Like, he was like, okay, let's just like have a party and like celebrate the fact that Fangs is back in the group. And he's like, serpents. He's like super excited. And then the police show up. It's like whoop whoop, and it turns out that it's FP.
Yeah.
Like, what did you guys?
Because I feel like we saw that in the promo, or
I think somebody posted it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I had no idea. I was like, what?
It's so random because
I just don't understand, why is it FP? Like, if Hermione's hiring a sheriff, why doesn't she just hire Keller again? Like, why does it have to be FP?
Keller is not on the docket anymore. He's like not on the billing docket.
I just don't get why FP is the sheriff. Like, it's so weird.
It's very random, and like we can talk really quickly about Hermione and FP because like she just has a this is the only time you see her in the entire episode. She's like, it's time. I'm like, it's time for what? It's time for what?
Yeah, like this isn't the Avengers Initiative. Like, what do you mean? You were literally dressed up as the Gargoyle King not even like 2 days ago, and now you're gonna be the sheriff? I don't know about that.
And like she makes it sound like it's like a plan that has been set in place for a while, and he like nods and he's like, got it, girl, I got you, fam. I was like, but like, what is their story? What do you think this plan is, and why FP? Like, I just don't understand even like her situation.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. Does anybody have an idea of what the F is going on in the show?
Yeah, maybe this Hermione because for the fact that she seems to have this long game plan. All of a sudden, FP, a bunch of people died simultaneously. I think J. Michelle just mentioned that too.
Yeah.
Do you think that there's something that she's setting in motion?
That she's setting it off. I mean, you know what it was? I think it was even seeing how like his like band of evildoers has dwindled down to 2 people, and now it's like down to 1 person. You start to realize like people are like somebody is picking them off like one by one, or they're just like getting lost along the way. So like he's kind of like losing his, I guess, control over the city and the town. And I didn't have like a little image of it or whatever, but we can quickly talk about the fact that Hiram literally threatens Hermione during the episode too. Like he's like it's in your best interest if you do this like quick time to like turn Claudius into the sheriff. And I was like, damn. Like the one thing that I wanted to ask you guys was like, do you feel like Hiram is that big of a threat? I know that you can be emotionally abusive, but like if he was even, not that I want to see this at all, like by any means I do not like endorse it at all, but like if he was like more like physically abusive to Hermione, I can understand why she would be like falling in line with Hiram, if that makes any sense. But the fact that she just is like, he's like, you better do what I say or else. Like,
but you have to remember too, like at one point he screwed them over so bad that like she had no money, she had no like safety net, like he took everything from her and her daughter. So like I feel like it doesn't have to be a physical abuse. It's like it's like she just doesn't trust him because he's sneaky. Like,
yeah,
and she's just trying to protect herself and her daughter.
That's true. Rose Payne in the chat says, I feel like Hermione wants to rebel against Hiram and knows the serpents can help, so she put one of them in law, which is a good point. Yeah, I definitely feel like if this is her mayor moment to try to take back the town from Hiram, then like sure, I'll run with it, I guess. Someone's asking, J. Michelle's asking, is Hermione playing double agent? I'm like, girl, I don't even know if she's playing double agent. Like I can't do this anymore. Like I don't know what's going on anymore.
Yeah, she might be. I mean, she started to make these plays right when Hiram's no longer able to do anything after he made these threats.
Right. And like we have to remember too, she's the one that is like the real gangsta for real, right? Like she is the one that comes from like a gangster family. So it'll be interesting to see if they pull that back around and it turns out that like Hermione was even worse than Hiram, you know? Which I don't know if I could buy that, but
I don't know if I would feel that actually.
Yeah, just because in season 1 she wasn't like a psychopath, so like I can't imagine her just being in season 3 being like, haha, I killed my husband, so now I can like be evil too. Like it just, I don't know how I would buy that. But going really quickly back to FP becoming the sheriff, did you guys notice that Jughead made this very confused, concerned look on his face?
So I think it goes back to last episode, or was it the one before, where I think there was a little bit of tension between FP and Jug when FP's like, I miss like having the reins or whatever.
Yeah,
like
pull me back in.
I feel like he missed having control or like being a part of the leadership or whatever. So I feel like taking control with the sheriff is like Jughead being like, wait, like what are you trying to do right now? Like why are you the sheriff? Like, we run the gang in town, you know?
Yeah, it's true. But I guess like, but that's the thing. Like, once you have a conversation with him, he'll be like, "Don't worry about it, bro. Like, we got this." So like, I don't know why they had to hold the camera on him for so long. Like,
It's gonna come. Yeah, it's gonna have something. I feel like some drama.
it has to. It has to. Otherwise, like, they wouldn't have shown that for so long. So the next things I don't want to talk about are VARCHIE is over officially.
Are over for the moment, I feel like.
Well, for the moment, yes. So it happens because Archie goes to the hospital and he tries to see like where Veronica is, and she essentially accuses him of shooting her dad.
Yeah,
Totally reasonable.
Do you think that was fair? Like, that was right for her to accuse him?
I mean, sorry, go ahead. Oh, sure. I mean, yeah, I mean, the dude has wanted to kill him for ages, and like he literally has been having fantasies about stabbing him.
Yeah.
That's true.
I understand it. I just think she could have said it
In a better
in
way.
a different way. And I get that her dad just got shot, so she's kind of like sketched out, but like, your boyfriend just came back from like God knows where. Like, just don't like accuse him the minute he comes to see you, like in the hospital room, you know?
Yeah, that's fair. And like, he does dip from life. Like, he literally, she's like, "Where the F were you? You weren't answering any texts." So like, he does look suspicious the entire time.
And the thing is too, and I wish they kind of talked about this more, I feel like I wanted Veronica to be more pissed. I feel like I wanted her to be more like, where the F did you go? Like, you left me high and dry. You broke up with me over the freaking phone. And then you just come in here now? Like, I wish she was more angry. And I felt like some of that maybe came out in this moment, but it wasn't as clear as it should have been, you know?
I agree with you, but I think that like she couldn't lay into him. This guy like literally just came back from like a being almost dead and stuff. So like and she throws a lot of shade to him, like as much as she can, I guess. She's like, "Where were you? You like didn't answer my calls." Like, she does shade him as much as she can without literally like yelling him like up and down. Cause yeah, I would totally read the shit out of him if I was her. But I think that like she's trying to like be as compassionate based on his like current situation. But what do you guys think about VARCHIE being donezo for now?
I mean, I think, I think everything has its own time. I do think that VARCHIE is endgame, so I feel like it will come back to that. But I think for right now, I think whether she's alone or she's with Reggie, like whatever, you know.
Whatever.
Secretly, I'm like, yes, Reggie.
What about you, Farewell?
Yeah, I think they should pump the brakes for now. I don't think either of them are in the right place to be with each other, and I think honestly, I think it's a pure physical thing at this point. And just seeing it contrasted with VARCHIE, with Veggie,
yeah,
I think if she's gonna be with somebody, I think her and him would be great.
I agree. I 100% agree. I think that, like I said, this episode more than any time before, you see such a stark contrast between her relationship with Reggie and her relationship with Archie, and I definitely side with Veggie in this particular moment, just because I think also just he's not like he's not equipped to be in a relationship right now. Like,
100%.
Exactly. And maybe she isn't either. So her like saying Veggie, it might not be the right thing either. Like, maybe she should be on her own too, but who knows?
I mean, let's just like let her have a new man. So yeah, speaking of Veggie comes through, and that was a really exciting thing. I'm sure for you, MB, you were super excited to see that happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think everything has its timing, and I love the drama between like the three of them. But I think I'm ready for Veggie, like for full out Veggie. And I'm not like it's not like I hate Archie. I want him to like find his own path, you know?
Yeah, I agree. What about you, Farewell?
Yeah, I liked it. I think it falls in line with what they've been establishing with Reggie for the past, arc of him and Veronica being really good friends, and then the romantic flair happening. And he pulled through again. Like I said, they could have went a route where he got like angry or showed some like iffy signs, but he stuck through the whole time and has been consistent. I'm your good friend, whether or not your man comes back, I'm still gonna be there. And if your dad gets shot and Archie isn't there, I'm still gonna be there. So yeah. I appreciated that quite a bit. But the evil side of me also thought, oh wow, coming there with flowers and chocolates and all that. You sure you
True.
didn't kill the man?
True.
Yeah. Good point.
That's a really good point, and I would be interested to see if that's what kind of like ends, because I'm always worried about the end game, right? I'm always like, how is this gonna not last? You know, like what is Reggie gonna do that's gonna f shit up? And I was like, is Bumble gonna be a situation like he can't stop going on Bumble, and she finds out about it. So we'll see. But yeah, I totally support Veggie at this point in time. I'm totally down to see where they take the storyline, and I'm super supportive of a supportive boyfriend, so he's doing a good job. I wanted to mention this just because Nicholas mentioned it in the top chat. Just apparently the balloons that Reggie comes in with, one of them says it's a boy. Congratulations, it's a boy. So to your point, to your point, Failwell, if he is being like a big liar, then he's either there was either a moment where like it shows how Reggie's a bit of an airhead, which is probably true, or two, like he could be like a total fake out right now, and he's playing like Veronica this entire time.
Man, I would be so surprised. I mean, it's that might fall in line with the character of Reggie from previous seasons and before the recast.
Exactly. Yeah.
But he's really made a lot of strides in his development recently, so I would hope not.
Yeah. We'll see. Or maybe it was just like a moment that we had to like low-key notice. Like, good call on that, Nick. Like I didn't even see that.
That was a good one. I didn't take that in either.
That was really good.
Agreed.
Let's get to the last moment of the episode. So Archie is an alcoholic now, guys.
So he's working out again. He has his punching bag, which I loved. But I think the scariest part of that scene wasn't really the alcohol to me. It was like the fact that his dad was like, it looks like a jail cell in here. Like everything is stripped away. All his posters are taken down. And that's kind of just sad to see Archie like this, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. You know, this episode to me is sort of, although like at points it wasn't, I guess, done in the best fashion, he's clearly dealing with like some PTSD and some mental health issues. So to see him just, I guess, repress it with drinking, I don't know. I was a little
I mean, I was telling NB offline when we talked about it earlier this today. I was like, I would probably believe it more if it was like pain meds, because he's literally been like in and out of the hospital. He's been stabbed. He's been like bear mauled. So like pain meds to me would make more sense. But I guess they tried to give Fred that storyline and then they like nixed it. So I guess I can give it to him too. But yeah, I think that like any type of like drug abuse is definitely an indicator that he's going through some shit right now. I just don't want to see Archie go through some more darkness, just because I thought that he was going to come back with a little bit more like positivity and clarity, but he just seems like he's still fighting through it, and I don't know how they're going to pivot from this point in time. So I don't know. We'll see how it all ends off.
Yeah, is there gonna be a subplot of him like getting off alcohol?
Yeah, BARCHIE.
I don't even know. Like, anyway, we'll see. We'll see. All right, guys, let's get into our recap roundups.
Recap roundups. Best moment.
So first and foremost, what was your best moment, Farewell?
Oh man, my best moment. I might have been Fred going off on Hiram at the beginning. I love that. To see him, stand up for his son in that moment.
Yeah,
that was just great. Also, that was my moment.
How about you, MB?
My best moment is when Reggie spills the beans about Veggie to Archie.
Okay.
It was so
Dramaful. Mine is gonna go to Betty and Hal. I really like, honestly, guys, I think that that's gonna be an interesting storyline. I really like the way it was shot. I felt like the most comfortable in that mode. Surprisingly enough, I feel like it was like very much like watching Betty talking to her serial killer dad. Surprisingly, was the most normal thing I saw this episode. So like, yeah, between that and like Fred and Archie's like moments were really, really cute. I just love seeing them together. I love their the as a father and son.
Exactly. I would add that on to the beginning part with Fred. I think those all encompass.
True.
WTF moment.
What was your WTF moment?
Mine was definitely between Reggie and Archie.
Oh,
when the beans spilled, he's like, cheating? Yo, bro, my bad. I was like, huh? Like my face dropped. That was a big what the fuck.
JLAG, I feel like you and me have the same one, so you can go ahead and say it.
I mean, I have so many of them because there were so many moments, so I don't even know which one to choose. But I said like the Gargoyle King reveal was like definitely a WTF moment for me. Claudius dying was a WTF moment because I was more like what the who cares, like not like what the F. Hiram getting shot was a big surprise, and also like Archie's quinceañera. Like I definitely thought it was a very extra moment. I was like, what the F is going on right now?
MVP.
I would probably give it to Betty this episode, for the fact that she was, even despite all of the craziness going on in her life, she still looked out for Archie, to make sure that he had his head on right in terms of schooling and stuff like that. So I appreciated that. That's
fair. I do appreciate that about her too.
I think my MVP is going to be Archie. I just, even though he's maybe has a problem with addiction, I still feel like he's trying to do the best he can do with what's happened to him all year. And I'm just excited for his story throughout the season.
Yeah, I think that there's going to be an interesting curve, and we haven't seen the end of like his kind of path.
Yeah.
My MVP is going to go to Reggie, just because I feel like he was a supportive person this entire episode too, and
I agree.
It'll be interesting to see if they continue that with his story. I'm very interested to see now now that like Nick mentioned that, to see if there is like a diabolical side to Reggie, and if that's gonna kind of blow up in his face later on in the season. So we'll see. But yeah, this episode, I think he was just as supportive. He was just as understanding with Archie kind of coming into the game. So I was really, I'm really liking his character.
LVP.
Who was your guys' LVP, Failwell?
Penelope, I think this episode for me was my LVP.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about her.
Exactly. She just sort of popped up and she's like, oh, my brothel, this and that. It was just, I wasn't with it this episode.
Yeah, I agree. How about you, MB?
I'm going to have to say Tallboy, because I feel like even he didn't know what he was playing. The actor like, yo, you're gonna play like the Gargoyle King. Like at this point, he's like, wait, what? Riverdale. I just don't understand why he is who he is. It's so effing weird and random.
Yeah, 100%.
So like, what does it even matter?
Yeah, that's the thing. They like literally brought people back just to kill them off, like this episode. So
contracts needed to be ended, guys. I think that's what happened.
Yeah, seriously. For my LVP, I'm gonna go with Fangs. Like, I love the guy. I think he, like I said, adorable actor, but like, mans can't hold a gun for shit. Like, what's wrong with you? And he basically spent the rest of the episode just freaking the fuck out, which I guess is understandable, but I was totally not here for it. I was like, you're a bitch, just go.
Yeah, literally, I was gonna say Reggie should have called him a little bitch.
Yeah
100%.
The best line.
And what were your guys' best lines?
Oh, sorry. I think my favorite line again was Fred saying, "I'll kill you." Just love that. Him protecting his son. Very
savage.
Very savage. Yeah, I loved it.
MB?
I'm gonna have to go with at the end when Archie looks to Veronica and he's like, "It's over, isn't it?"
Ooh.
It's over.
Punch to the gut.
Yeah.
Just made it official.
Yeah. Mine is going to be Veronica, just because like we had talked about it last podcast, but she says at Pop's Diner, she says, Archie just lived through the Revenant. Let him have whatever he wants. And I was like, yeah, because he literally got mauled by a grizzly bear. Anybody who hasn't watched the movie, go watch it. Everybody in the comments are talking. People I see MVPs, Reggie, Betty. There's a lot of good ones out here. Best moment, Betty and Hal. Someone said the same thing. Best line, I'm in high school. How am I supposed to know that? Definitely. WTF moment, Alice taking Betty's money for the farm. Definitely.
That's
and yeah,
runner out for me too.
100% she was an LVP. Totally forgot about her too. Crazy biatch. Yeah, we got a few LVP Kevin, which is like he didn't even make it to the episode. That's how much of an LVP he was. But yeah, that's the episode, guys. That was yeet. That was an interesting one. So Thank you, everybody who was able to join us. Thank you, Farewell. And I just really quickly want to say thank you to our patrons, our lit rewinders, Tina Ann, Nama, Sarge, Serena, Kaylee, our mommy rewinders, Becca, Sarah, and Tamala. Thank you very much. If you guys would like to join our Patreon family, check us out at patreon.com/recap_rewind. If you join, you'll get access to all these recap rewind things, exclusive content, updates, and make sure you guys keep an eye out. Next week is going to be a major week for new content. We are dropping everything Kelly Ripa next week, so because her episode's coming up, so it's very exciting. We got some amazing stuff coming your way. Like, it was such a great conversation that we got to have with her, so make sure you guys stay tuned for that, because that was a huge thing for us, and I hope you guys enjoy it. But that's it. Thanks everybody for joining today, and we'll see you guys next week. Thank you again, Farewell.
Thanks so much for having me, y'all. It's always a pleasure to be on the podcast, and I hope you all come back for the next one.
Yeah, appreciate it. Bye, guys.
Take care.
Bye.